Ladies and gentlemen, Donovan Mitchell, for the first time in his career, is going to a conference finals. And I'm very happy, not only because I'm a Donovan Mitchell fan, but because the narratives that would have been, the narratives that would have surrounded Donovan Mitchell if he lost Game 7 last night would have been absolutely disgusting, okay? They would have been nasty, all right? They would have been absolutely nasty. But there will be no narratives negatively spun about Donovan Mitchell, at least not at this current moment in time, because he made the conference finals. And not only did he make the conference finals, he played fantastic in this Game 7. Donovan Mitchell, 26 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 10 for 22 on the night, plus 17. First of all, everyone, all these Cavaliers are going to be pluses. All right, the box score, plus, minus, they're all going to be pluses because the Cavaliers blew the Pistons out of the water. They blew them out of the building. They ran them out of their own building. All right? By the end of the game, the only fans still seated, still sitting there, still watching, were all the Cavaliers fans that got bussed to Detroit from Cleveland. That's the only people that were still there because this game was over. This game was over before the fourth quarter started. You know, it was really over before the fourth quarter started. Donovan Mitchell played great, but what really needed to happen for Cleveland to win this game was their bigs needed to show up, and they did. First few shots of the game came from Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, and Evan Mobley, I've been keeping track of this. Tonight was the first game in this series where he made more than 6 shot attempts. It was also maybe his most efficient game of the series. I think so. And it was probably most definitely his best game of the series. 21 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, plus 31. All right. Evan Mobley was great, and I love to see it because I have thought this entire series, really, I think this all the time, and I think a lot of people do, Evan Mobley can be a great offensive player. He's just not, for whatever reason. He is not a great offensive player all the time, and I thought he was great last night. And you know who else was great? Game 7, J.A., it's a thing. Jarrett Allen absolutely cooked. 23 points, 7 rebounds, 8 of 14. This brother got to the free throw line, shot 13 free throws. Now, he only made 7 of them, but Jarrett Allen played fantastic in this game. Sam Merrill off the bench, 23 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3. Let me check. Is that Sam Merrill alone made more threes than the entire starting 5 for Detroit? As a matter of fact, I think they threw up this stat on the board like a minute into the fourth quarter that Cleveland's starters not only were outscoring Detroit starters by like 40, but they were outscoring the Pistons in general. So that's, again, pretty embarrassing for Detroit. James Harden, not the greatest game of all time. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 for 10, but the brother was plus 31, and the Cavaliers got the W. The Cavs got the W. That's all that matters. All right, you've seen there's been a little bit of James Harden slander on the internet since this game, but who really cares? He won. He won the game. All right, buddy got the last laugh in this case scenario. But as we look at the Pistons, they were awful. The Detroit Pistons were awful, not only offensively, because we know they struggle offensively, but defensively. As Stan Van Gundy said countless times in this game, Detroit were lacking effort. All right, this was not a good defensive game from them, a team that's usually really good on defense. Wasn't that good. Really wasn't that good. And that's what hurt them, because that's what really hurt them. Because we've seen games where the Pistons have been terrible on offense, like pretty much their entire series versus Orlando, but their defense is really what wins them it. Now, the Cavaliers are a better team by a lot than the Magic, but still, you could maybe at home not have a great offensive game, maybe pull out a defensive masterclass and still get away with the game. But there was no offense to be found. There was no defense to really be found. Cade Cunningham, maybe his worst game of the playoffs. He was 5 for 16. He was 0 for 7 from 3. Dennis Jenkins might have actually been the best starter in this game, and he was 4 for 12. So that'll tell you all you need to know. Asar Thompson hit a 3. So there's something positive that came out of this game for the Pistons. Asar Thompson hit a 3. Duncan Robinson was maybe the only efficient player on the team tonight. Or last night, I should say. He was 4 for 17. Tobias Harris did a disappearing act. We don't know where he went, okay? We saw the same effort in Game 7 last night from Jared Allen that we saw in his Game 7 versus Toronto. Same cannot be said for Tobias Harris. Fantastic Game 7 against the Orlando Magic. Game 7 last night, the brother had 5 points, and he was 0 for 6 from the field. Terrible. Jalen Duren, he's been doing exactly what he's been doing all postseason, and it ain't been much. He's done some good, but it's not been a lot. Like Game 6, he had a good Game 6. That was maybe his best game of the postseason, but really he's had a bad postseason. So, yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers. Cade Cunningham, 5 for 16. Dennis Jenkins, 4 for 12. Thompson, 2 for 7. Harris, 0 for 6. Duren, 3 for 7. Jalen Duren, in a closeout game, taking only 7 shots is crazy. Okay? I mean, James Harden was 2 for 10, but, he wasn't efficient, but, at least he kept shooting, bro. At least... he wasn't having a great game, but he kept shooting because this is Game 7, all right? You got to at least see if the shot will go down. But Cleveland, for the first time in 8 years, is going to the conference finals, and for the first time since 1992, is going to a conference finals without LeBron James. All right? Which, that's got to mean something for Donovan Mitchell's legacy. That's got to mean something for Donovan Mitchell's legacy. They're going to be playing the New York Knicks. Should be a great series, but the Knicks have kind of been steamrolling people. Their last, 6 games, they've blown out the Sixers and the Hawks by 1 billion points each time. So who knows? Maybe the Cavaliers will get blown out, but I hope it'll be a competitive series. And hopefully in the offseason, the Detroit Pistons can structure their team a little bit better, can get Cade Cunningham some help, because this brother needs help.